In the shadow of the most powerful city in the world, the Capital Golf Gang is on the air with instructor John Ronis from the Ronis Academy at River Creek, Executive Director of the Middle Atlantic PGA John Gould, and former University of Maryland golfer Ron Thomas. And now your host from Afternoon Drive on the Team 980 Radio in Washington, D.C., Steve Zabin.
It's our last run of 2021. We've got a lot to talk about today. John Gould is out today, but Buddy Christensen, owner of Golfdom, where we are taping today, is on the set. Boys, good to see you. I'm back from the Ryder Cup, back from Wisconsin. We got a lot to chew over, including the Ryder Cup, Bryson DeChambeau's pretty amazing run through the Long Drive Championship, an exhibition that's coming up, plus a final Quick Nine, and a special guest that Mr. Ronis knows well, who is doing things at Wake Forest University that are quite amazing in college golf. So we got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. First, the Ryder Cup. Team USA smashes, obliterates poor Patty Harrington and the Euros. 19-9, your final, and maybe it wasn't even that close. Question, gentlemen, who was the star of the Ryder Cup? Ronis, we'll start with you.
Whistling Straits was, first of all, I think the major star of it. I think as far as entertainment-wise, the golf course showed very well, and it was set up perfectly for the United States. And that's what we do in Ryder Cups when we have them at home. Yeah. And that was very important. As far as the players go, you know, in a quiet way out on the golf course, you got a little bit less quiet in the interviews, but Dustin Johnson was a star.
5-0.
There's no question about it.
One of only a handful of guys to go 5-0 since the format included 5 seconds.
And you know, it's the amazing thing about it is in the interviews, they were calling him Grandpa and stuff like that. It's amazing that Dustin Johnson now is the senior leader of that crew. So I thought it was very cool to see that and the embracing of him as I think probably a fairly low-key nonverbal leader. So I think he was a star.
Go ahead, buddy.
I would agree on the golf course 100%. I thought that golf course was perfect for this format. And there's been a couple, 3 PGAs they played there?
Yeah.
I don't think it showed nearly as well as it did for this format, the excitement that some of those holes could bring on. And then, DJ Morikawa, who I did not expect to play that well, paired with DJ, they played great together. So, I mean, U.S. coming together Steve Stricker's got to be thrown into that conversation too, right? As far as pulling them together and what looked like no chance of doing that.
Ronnie.
Well, for me, the overall star was Steve Stricker because not only did they win, but his formula was effective in a way that, we destroyed them. And so as far as an overall star, I go with Stricker. Player-wise, I think that the most crucial match of the entire event every year is the first match of singles, and what Scheffler did to Jon Rahm was fabulous.
Yeah.
Did he do it to Rahm, or did Rahm run out of gas?
How do you run out of gas? You play in, you play in 4 majors a year, and you play 4 rounds.
He had carried the team for the first 2 days, pretty much. I think he had 75% of their point total.
He ran out of gas more so than maybe you would have expected when Scheffler birdied the first 4 holes.
Yeah, he came out on fire.
He birdied 6 of the first 7.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
So that's a blitz
an all-star
and it's
right there.
I think it's a bit of a letdown also because, let's face it, those guys knew walking into Sunday that they had no chance.
Right.
Well, I don't know that. If Rahm goes out and gets a point from Scheffler, and then those right up until the back 9, the tournament was not decided.
Really, you felt like they had a chance?
Sure.
Okay. It just takes such an amazing streak of coin flips. All these matches are close, obviously. So once you get down by a point, 2 points, you feel like it's almost hopeless because it's so evenly matched. You have to flip a coin and have it land heads 15 times in a row to make a comeback of just a couple of points, basically. Right. So anyway, I thought the stars were the 25 and unders, the super new wave. Already Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth are part of this mid-tier of veterans, right? They're not even the 32-year-old Finaus or Harris Englishes or Dustin Johnsons. I'm talking the real young pups. Obviously, Cantlay is among that. Same thing for Morikawa. Same thing for Scheffler, who's Gonna be great, everyone says. Big dude, whomps it, very talented. I joked to my producer, Gitter, I said, you can have a day off the day he wins a tour event. He's like, oh, great, I'm writing it down. Of course, it might be with somebody else, but still. I told him, go ahead, and Scheffler's going to be good. The young guys are good. The young guys bought into it, and the young guys were not fazed by the stage. And I didn't take that into account. I thought old head experience, which Europe had, was going to weigh a lot more. Nah. These young guys, Ronas,
Interesting.
they don't care.
Yes.
I mean, they don't care.
Yet.
They're not phased. They care,
Yet. I think going into this situation, the U.S. was heavily favored. The young pups, there were 6 of them, they were ignorant is bliss situation. They got through this one because the team was an overpowering force, and yes, they played well. It's the next one. It's the next one where now the expectations are there. Oh, yeah, you're no longer a rookie. Now you have to carry this team in the 25 and unders, or 28 and unders.
Right.
So I think they're going to actually feel the pressure a little bit more if they make it on their next stint, because they're now veterans and they're expected now where they weren't expected going in because they were rookies.
So you think there may be growing pressure?
Oh, I do believe there is
Interesting.
growing
All right.
pressure, and that's why I think it's a little cyclical.
Buddy?
But Cantlay almost talked to that point where he basically said, we are setting a precedent where we're going to use this going forward. So I think they're aware of that already.
Cantlay's a different dude, man. He's a totally different dude.
You could argue he was a star of the Ryder Cup.
Absolutely.
The more you got to hear him and listen to him, how he thinks, how he handles himself, a lot of admiration there.
Yeah.
Ronnie, where is the European youth to come up and fill in the gaps as these old lions finally sunset?
I don't really know of too many European
I don't
young
either.
players. If there are, they will probably come through on the U.S. tour, not on the European tour.
Through American colleges like Hovland, right?
I have a comment on that. I believe the COVID situation stunted the European growth of golf because they want. Well, I believe that they want to come to the United States to play and to get better.
So you think that the 2
Travel.
years were enough to sort of take some steam out of it?
Because of the travel situations and things like that. So I think they're actually going to be stunted for a little while.
What I would like to say in closing for this segment, if we are closing, is to hear all of these guys talk about how much they have to make this next team because of their experience. I'm talking about the young United States players.
They did.
Yeah.
They were like, I got to be part of this.
This is life-changing for them. Life-changing. It's going to change their perception of maybe that 4-footer or that 8-footer at the Buick Classic. They don't have the Buick Classic anymore. Or at Memphis or something where, it matters.
Yeah.
So
it
do you
matters.
think that got to dude? Do you lift, bro, Koepka? Do you think that spirit of, man, I got to make these teams?
No.
Or is he above it all where he's like, of course I'm going to make it. Golf is easy. You guys are nerds.
It's just an image for him. It's just
It's a
his
front.
image. I think, absolutely.
But deep down, he appreciated the camaraderie and being part of a team.
Of course.
He just didn't want to admit
No, I don't know.
He didn't want to.
I don't know. I think he's such a narcissist that it's just another notch in his belt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't
think
think
DeChambeau on the other side.
Let's talk about DeChambeau.
Yeah.
We've not mentioned him yet. He gained tremendous likability points.
And I think he sat there and he really soaked it up and said, wow, this is really neat to be a part of a team where he really hasn't been part of a team. He's been his own little island. And so I think he really soaked it up.
He went over in France.
Yeah.
And this time around, he didn't do any of the alternate shot, didn't complain, no jabs on social media. What I thought the biggest thing was he wore the regular hat.
what did he wear in the
drove
long
first
drive?
green.
The regular hat.
The regular hat.
Yeah.
I think he definitely. But we've seen this with him. He's gone through these waves.
know.
Like we started with Doral. He was like, all right, we can get behind him. And then what does he do?
I know.
Right? So at some point, we're going to have come back the other
He'll
way.
disappoint me at some point, to be sure.
Yeah.
Like Mickelson has done through his career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did enjoy DeChambeau more than any other part of the Ryder Cup.
I would agree.
I just. I
About
get,
driving one,
well,
Ronnie.
Yeah.
the driving of hole
Landing
number
it
one
on run. He
is-
didn't run it up one.
It's a moment that not only will I remember for the rest of my life as a 51-year-old man who's been playing golf all of his life, but watching it with Winston, with my son, he just was blown away to watch a human being under those kinds of conditions stand up and do what he's expected to do, maybe, or
Yeah.
what he was attempting to do, and to not only he flew it onto the green.
Yeah.
Landed on the aircraft carrier
And
from
he
362.
And then
makes it.
Yeah.
That was the key to the whole thing. He
Right.
makes it, which makes it
Yeah.
matter that he did that.
Come on.
How about someone said, you know how us amateurs will go, what'd you have on that hole? And you're like, you look backwards and you go 1, 2, 3 in the woods, 4. For DeChambeau, it'd be 1, 2. Did I miss any shots? on that?
Yeah, 1, 2 in the singles of the Ryder. Was it
Yeah.
singles?
First hole.
Yeah, the first
Yeah,
hole,
first
singles
hole.
with the world watching. That's something else
Yeah.
I want to stress here. Imagine you feel pressure at your member guest when you've got 60 guys in their carts with cocktails in their hand watching you try and beat Fred. You know,
In the shootout.
the entire
Ultimate shot.
world is watching, and you know it.
And
to
most of them are rooting against you.
to come through. I mean, I'm excited right now to perform.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to hit the shots. Brooks Koepka's shot on number 17. He almost jarred it.
Yeah.
Almost jarred it to win the whole matches. Right. How great would that have been?
Just
Holy cow. All right, Stricker, you have no idea what it means to him to win this thing in his home state. He's beloved up there. He is the epitome of Wisconsin gentleman. Humble as the day is long. Family man, grinder, a guy who fell into the 800s, I believe, in the world rankings. And he found his game where? Not in Sarasota, not down in Florida.
In a barn.
Out of a shed at Cherokee Country Club outside of Madison, Wisconsin in the dead of winter.
Yep.
Found it. Hogan said it's in the dirt. You got to dig it out. He said, you know what? Why go to Florida to work on my game? I got a shed here. There's a heater. It's warm enough. Who cares? I'm going to find it. Won Comeback Player of the Year twice in a row. That's a hell of a story. So he wins. What is the book of Stricker when it's all said and done in the grand scheme of golf? No majors, but a long, consistent career and now a Ryder Cup victory.
You know, Larry Nelson won a major, but he's in that category of good guys do win sometimes.
Okay.
And Stricker is a good guy, and I think we can once in a while we can just herald someone for being a huge benefit to the game of golf, and I think that's what he's done.
And he started with a win at the Kemper Open, right? That
right.
was his beginning thing. And yeah, he that was a little guy becomes on the big stage out of nowhere, and then he does that again later on after coming back from what you're talking about. So it's awesome. And he, I mean, if he goes and tees it up now, he makes cuts with these guys, and he's 52.
He can still play despite not being exceptionally long. That's amazing.
Although he's sneaky long.
I know.
two things. He shows up I don't discount the Champions Tour in any way, shape, or form. Okay, you have to play. These are tough golf courses. It's tournament golf. He shows up and he wins almost every time he plays in the Champions Tour. While he's been preparing to be captain of this, and you know he dove head first into this captaincy. Sure. And secondly, the way that he spoke in the press conference, I think he controlled his destiny, or he laid it out, the bedrock, the foundation for us to think of him going forward. Steve, how does this compare? How does this rate in your golf life career? I didn't win a major, so this is my major.
Yeah. And of course he cried, because that's what he does, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. All right, now that just to close the Ryder Cup, what tweaks, what improvements do you think could be or perhaps should be made to the event?
Just that every single event should be held in the United States. It's really the only improvement that I have. You agree? Is that no?
No,
joking,
I don't
right?
agree.
Okay.
It's a terrible idea.
I really,
worst idea.
I really
it's a
don't
selfish.
have
He's being selfish.
I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding.
Joking.
I have none.
I would say you got to play more matches Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday. You shouldn't have 4 guys sit. You should have 2 guys sit. So that's my tweak number 1. More points. More points would allow for more comebacks because it's so few points relative to the number of players. I'd put more points in the mix in the first 2 days.
I agree.
Sure.
And I'll just say this. I do not like the foursomes. Is that what it's called?
Alternate.
I don't
don't.
like it at all.
How about one day?
I want to see them play.
Yeah.
I want to see them play. They're there to play golf. I want to see all of them play.
You wouldn't mind 4 sessions of true better ball.
I'd love it.
4 balls in play each time. Okay, buddy?
I don't think I'd change much. I mean, watching Rory in his interview afterwards, as they're losing, knowing they're going to lose.
Oh,
but
yeah. We didn't talk about Rory, for
Yeah.
God's sakes.
Screaming, crying.
But that's the emotional side of this.
Yeah.
That's the history side of this. That I don't like messing with that too much.
Yeah.
Steve, I want to ask you a question.
Yes,
Why
sir.
do you think it means so much to the European players?
Well, I say this. I think it means a lot to the American players, and they're finally coming around to that. But as far as why does it mean a lot to the Europeans, I don't know.
I think it means as much to both of them. And the thing is, Ronnie, and you know this, how short a period of time do you get to play on a team in golf?
Yeah.
It is such a – that's why we go to college. You know, we'll ask Mikey about that. It's a team.
I just wonder if it has something to do with taking down the Americans.
Of course, at the beginning, the historical
They're
aspect,
Americans.
Yeah.
Graham
Not anymore.
McDowell's American.
I know.
Poulter's American.
It's playing.
Rory's American.
It's a legacy of being part of a Ryder Cup victorious team.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Rory's probably eating at Chipotle right now.
He's not worried about it.
Well, my Ping Regional was a caddy for Bruce Litsky for years, and at the Ryder Cup week, he posted a picture of him caddying for Litsky, playing against Bernhard Langer.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Langer couldn't have contributed more to that European team this year, right now, than some of those guys right there.
Yeah, sure.
Which
sure.
is crazy, because that was 40-plus years
Here.
ago.
All these guys, the captain, the vice captains, we've had a great time. You know, it looks like it's not going to pan out the way we want on the golf course. You know, I've been extremely disappointed that I haven't contributed more for the team. I'm glad I got a point on the board today for them, but it's been a tough week, and the more and more I play in this event, I realize that it's the best event in golf, bar none, and I love being a part of it. I can't wait to be a part of many more. Yeah, it's the best.
I mean, that's good stuff right
Yeah.
there, isn't it? You know, here's a kid who didn't play in college in the States, you know, basically went pro right away.
Yep.
So he doesn't even have
Team.
that experience of being on a team.
Team.
And he was devastated because he didn't get points early. And because he plays with a bounce in his step and that sort of je ne sais quoi attitude. I know he's not French, but still, the perception is he doesn't care. Of course he cares. You don't get to his level without caring.
He's not very good right now.
Correct.
He really isn't.
You want to play him for money, Ron?
No, but you are such a Rory lover.
a total
and
stan,
I
man.
know you are, but
I am a Rory lover,
Get
too.
off of my boy.
Nah, I've
Yeah.
been saying it for all year. He's
I
not
love
playing
Rory.
well.
This is how the conversation
He's
of
not really good.
the conversation-
right now. Define really good.
He's very good. The conversation in my house goes like this. When we like someone, I go to my wife, Laura, we like Rory. We like this person.
like
and
him.
I always say, we love Rory.
We love Rory.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Well, they were vanquished, and they got a lot of work to do before Rome. Going to Rome next time. I have no idea if this golf course they've chosen is any good. I trust that it is. I have no idea, other than the Molinari brothers, who plays golf in Italy. Do you?
Yeah. Good pizza.
Ferraris.
Yeah.
Constantino Rocca?
Yeah.
I'm out of Italian golfers.
Yeah, that's
for
it.
500. Guido Miglosi. There's a fourth. Now I'm done. All right, coming up, our final quick 9 of the year. You're listening to the Capital Golf Gang, presented by Golfdom.
You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who have to come up with creative excuses to their wives for those grass stains on their pants. You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who once dreamed of becoming caddies on the PGA Tour until they found out you have to take the blame for everything.
We are back at Golfdom, our final edition of the Capital Golf Gang for 2021. I think there'll be a Christmas edition, buddy, to make sure everyone is well stocked.
I like that. I like that
Santa's
idea.
got his sleigh full of stuff. But our final regular show of the year, we just talked about the Ryder Cup, and we've got a special guest coming up in the third segment. 2 special guests, as a matter of fact. Michael Brennan from Leesburg, Virginia, who is currently at Wake Forest and absolutely tearing it up there, and the tournament director for the Wells Fargo, which is coming to Avenel in the month of May next year. And I have a trivia question for you guys when it comes to that. But we start with a final quick 9 and hole number 1. What one new thing did you learn about golf this year? Intentionally open-ended, wide-open question that is interpretable multiple ways. Who wants to start?
I don't want to start.
I'll start. First thing that I learned last week that the rest of the golfing public will learn next January is some exciting new equipment stuff that's coming out for next year. Can't really go into that yet, but there is some really, really cool stuff. I think for me, and I don't know if this is new, but the COVID bump of last year for the golf industry has continued, and it seems to be growing, and that to me is awesome to see.
Okay, Ronnie?
I learned that with each year that I have a birthday, that I age, that the game gets harder. And it's hard for me to admit that. My hips have slowed down. My overall strength has deteriorated, and my ability to recover from I had a big range session yesterday, and I woke up pretty sore today.
Right.
And it's just something
How are you
have
dealing
to
with that?
admit.
How are you accepting that?
It's hard. It's hard.
You're
it
not
really
fully
is.
accepting it yet, are you?
No, I am accepting it because what I've been doing is spending twice as much time on the chipping green
Good.
and putting green. My short game's never been better.
That's great.
That's how I've been able to shoot some scores. But, I still play, as everyone who listens knows, I still play in a lot of events against younger players. Just had the Mid-Atlantic Amateur up at BCC. Guys hitting it 60 by me.
That's tough.
But they were laughing as I got up and down for the 5th hole in a row.
The scorecard up, right?
There you go.
So
right.
one guy said, "Do you give short game lessons?" A young kid who I didn't know, and I said, "Well, we'll talk afterwards." He was serious.
Not while I'm competing against you, young man.
I will say, Ronnie, that to just add on that, I have accepted it for the first time this year, trying to play a little bit. I never did really end up playing much, but try to work on some things early in the season in that simulator that I put in my garage. And what I realize is that I have to start over. I don't have any concept of who the old guy was and can't come close to him anymore. So I actually have to start over.
You mean the young guy? You don't
the
have
young
any
guy,
concept
yeah,
of the young
the
guy.
former guy.
Yeah.
So I actually have to start over. It's daunting.
Do you want a name
daunting.
for your new golfer? Marty
Yeah.
Fitchburg.
Okay.
That'd be a sweet golfer name
All right.
for a guy in his
Sweet.
50s. How you doing, Marty Fitchburg?
Steve,
Counts receivable.
Steve,
just picked up the game last
in.
month.
This is a
I would
very
love to.
serious topic. For
No,
John.
I would love to. All right, I'm going to introduce.
I'm trying to help. I
You
gave
would
him a
be a
name.
good psychologist or
I know. What kind of
psychiatrist.
I'm going to introduce. I also learned the thing that I learned this year is that people listen to this show because every week I either get someone showing up for a lesson or on the member guest the other day I was guest hosting at Chantilly and 3 people. Oh, you're
Nice.
on the Capital Golf Gang. I was like,
Nice.
Yes, I am.
Nice. So when you see John, call him Marty.
Marty Fitchburg from
There you go.
Fitchburg,
Steve, what did you?
Massachusetts.
Steve, what did you
Here's
learn?
what I learned. Always make time for one beer. For years, I had been I've spent 4.5 hours with you guys on the course. I got to go. Got to do things. Almost never stuck around for a beer. And I realized this year, life is too damn short to do that. And it's actually rude. Now, normally I have a Diet Coke, but the concept is the same. I really have embraced that this year to the point where I say, of course I got time. And if it's a case where I literally have to be somewhere, I just probably won't schedule around if I don't have another 15 minutes for a beer. So that's my thing.
How about quickly? You have been playing so much golf up in Wisconsin with some really incredible people.
Oh, no, I met a lot of interesting people. I wish I'd the other thing is next year I'm going to keep track. This is my last question of the final line, but we'll get to that. I'm going to keep track of it. So, all right, hole number 2. What is your answer when somebody asks, so do you play a lot of golf?
No.
Your answer is
My
simply
answer is
no.
no, I never play.
I teach.
No,
and
I just
run a
don't
golf
play.
course.
I'd rather not know what I do. So I just say, no, I don't play much golf.
Okay, buddy?
I say no, I'm in the golf industry, and therefore we don't play much golf. But I am trying to play more golf.
Ronnie,
But
what do you
no.
say?
I say yes. I play.
He doesn't lie.
Ronnie says, you have no idea.
Can you play more?
I actually I practice a lot, so it's not only playing, but I practice.
Yeah, I say, depends on who you ask.
Right. That's a good answer.
Not enough for me, too much for others. Okay, hole number 3. Bones Mackay is going back to the bag. He's got Justin Thomas now out of the booth. He'll still do some stuff for television, but is he really that good, or is he just famous? In other words, pick your average tour looper. How many clicks better is Bones Mackay?
I think a lot. I think
You
a
do?
lot of clicks
Okay.
better. Yeah, I think he's well worth whatever their relationship's going to be.
I think he has to be on the bag for someone who's really good.
Oh, I agree.
Because you cannot have a famous caddy and a no-name player.
Right.
So
And I got to imagine his perspective from coming from the TV where he's seen some different things and different thoughts on how things are getting done. It might be kind of cool to have that in your repertoire.
He might be a better caddy this time after
Right.
sitting up in the booth and watching and thinking more
Correct.
about what he sees out there.
Well, he doesn't sit up in the booth.
No,
We
he
know
walks.
that.
Well,
I
you're
know
right.
it's
He
around,
walks.
but
He's
yes.
very good, by the way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And Wood, John Wood, I
John
believe.
Wood, yes.
I was thinking, Ron, those additions have done so much for golf telecasts because they know exactly what's going on at the ground level, starting with what's the lie. That's the most critical thing. You know that as a player. How's it sitting? Up and fluffy, down and dirty? What's he got? Side hill, uphill? How's it going to affect the shot? What does he want to do? What does he dare to do given the conditions?
And
those guys are on it.
And what's great is, quickly again, the guys upstairs doing the color and the play-by-play, if you will, compared to him, they give him his time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not Miller isn't there to kind
Right.
of overshadow. Well, I don't know about that.
You know who
Bones.
does
They
a great job with that is Dottie Pepper. Does
Dottie
a
Pepper,
great job
Justin
with that.
Leonard's fabulous.
Yeah.
Zinger,
And-
they're all
and-
good. They've got it going on.
Okay, hole number 4. Do you respect courses who make guys tuck in their shirts?
Yes.
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 Why is this
Next
coming up?
question.
I'm not a shirt untucker, although I'm a quarter zip wearer to the day I die, and so that allows me to maybe be a little bit unkempt underneath the tails of the quarter zip. I find it an odd hill to die on for some clubs.
To die on, it is, but it is something that you can kind of progressively. Well, you can start with the junior campers and say that we're going to have our shirts tucked in at all times here. You can start with your staff. Every single operational piece, that shirt is tucked in, and then you can make the kind of stern suggestion. Hey, how about tucking it in? And I really don't care who I say it to at the
Okay.
club, but there's different people where I'll put it in a way that you have to be extremely respectful, and there's other people you're a little bit more casually friendly with. But I like
What's
to make
worse,
it a point.
that or a backward hat guy?
I hate
Backward
the
hats are
backward hat's
unacceptable.
the worst, yeah.
Completely
So
unacceptable.
that's
behavior.
also unacceptable. All right. Well, standards are important for some people. I think there can be respectful golfers who just don't happen to tuck their shirts in, that you're arbitrarily picking on by going tuck the shirt in.
And I don't mind any of
you're
those
right.
rules if they're set and we're all, if it's no cell phones and you know that beforehand, you just know that that's where it is. Like, it may not be my choice, but
And it's not for every club.
All right.
right.
Hole number 5. What one thing would you put in your golf buddy's Christmas basket? In other words, they would like or appreciate or need this thing, club, ball, accessory, whatever, from Golfdom, of course. What would you make sure to put into somebody else's Christmas stocking?
Perfect putting mat. Next.
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
great.
got
Who
one for the
wouldn't
house.
want-
And
who wouldn't
it's-
want to
it's-
putt in
it's-
the
it's-
wintertime? Just
It's
putt.
awesome.
Buddy?
No, that's a great one. I'm for, stuffing 15, 20 items in there for everybody. So.
Right. You really should.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, everything
Ronus?
bought from here. If I had kind of an unlimited cash situation, I would put a Flight Scope Mevo, and because you can work
Well, it's
on your
only
game.
$400.
No, it's $2,000, but you can work on that. It's also
they
a
were
simulator. They have a smaller one, but
Got it.
the Mevo Plus, I guess, is what it was.
Okay.
Plus.
And that is a simulator as well, and you can get everything that we have here, and it's I think it's game changing personally.
All good ideas, but the answer is double-sided chipper. Just like the rejoins. Double-sided. 2 clubs in one, Ron.
Well,
Great for your hashtag punch-out game, which is elite, as you know. Hole number 7. Do you gamble on golf? Would you gamble on PGA Tour golf? And how do you feel about the upcoming push for gambling on television broadcasts? Because it's coming.
Gambling is like hunting to me. I don't hunt. I have no desire to hunt. I can't kill an ant.
But you don't begrudge
I
it?
take them out of my pool alive and let them go, even though they bite me
John.
sometimes. But I have no problem with it, hunting.
Okay.
Gambling's the same way. I just don't do it.
Nope.
It's
Not a
gonna be.
gambler.
It's gonna be.
It doesn't
pushed.
matter. Well, if it's going to be something that's going to be widespread, then that's more reason for me to not do it.
Okay. Yeah, but it's going to bother you watching it on TV because it's coming on TV. They had stories about this. This is every major sport and league is jumping 2 feet in on gambling.
Yeah, and what's remarkable about that is that 90% of the people who are going to place wagers do not have the money
Sure.
Of course
to
not.
place their bets.
Nor any
so
idea
that's
who
where
to
I
bet
stand.
on.
Well, and then that's when the credit cards are happy because
There you
advances. It's a cycle.
Buddy,
But
how do you feel?
it's here to stay. And in golf, there's a lot of different angles you can take with that gambling. So we're going to see a lot of it.
You
Okay.
skip number 6.
I skipped the 6
Name
hole.
one, non-golf.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Hole number 6, which is now 7. Name one non-golfer who you would think would make an excellent Ryder Cup captain.
Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan.
That's the obvious one.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone
But
besides
who
Jordan?
is not is Carson Daly.
Why?
Well, no. Did you see
He's a
that
fanatic golfer.
Yeah, he is.
He did this little pep talk for these guys. Maybe that had something good
He's
to do
a
with it.
dork.
I don't know. But
He's a
yeah,
How about,
I
how
did
about,
not
how
see
about
that
Tony
happen.
Robbins or some other motivational?
No.
It's you need competitive, right?
You need a competitor, okay?
Yeah, you need a
it's-
So a
competitor.
guy who's played for a few bucks in his life.
Pat Riley. I think
Okay.
Pat
Yeah,
Riley's
yeah.
the most underrated coach ever.
All right, hole number 8. You see where Paige Spiranak had a hole-in-one in front of Gary Player at a charity event? What would be the coolest thing you could ever do? Or maybe the coolest thing you have done in the world of golf? Because I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm such a Gary Player stan, it's a joke. But to have a hole-in-one where he's like, oh, that's a good shot, and it goes in. How great is that?
For me, my coolest golf moment occurred at the Cradle, playing with my friend Daryl, who was a caddy at Pinehurst. I met him when I played there a few weeks beforehand. We hit it off, and number 9 at the Cradle, he makes it in front, dunks it, hole in one. We were celebrating, hugging, high five. I get up and I dunked it right on.
Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing.
Back-to-back hole in ones, 2 balls in at once. That
amazing.
place was going nuts. It was great.
My golf moment's yet to come, and I'm going to stick with that.
Okay, fair enough. I would want to win a $20 Nassau with the Merry Mex, the other legend who I'm completely in the tank for. I've never gotten to meet him. But knowing that he was a hustler growing up as a kid, saying pressure is playing for $10 when you only got $2 in your pocket. Man, that'd be great if I could do that. That'd be a bucket list thing. Buddy, any thing that you have on your list?
Coolest thing I got to do was I played with Tom Watson at the Greenbrier, and they introduced him, and then he turned around to me and said, "Why don't you lead us off?" And I'm like, anytime I can tee off in front of an 8-time
Please
major
tell me where
champion.
the ball
Oh,
went.
God.
What happened to the ball?
I hit it down the middle.
I would-
Did you?
I did.
Nice.
I did.
Urinated
But
down my
but
leg.
it
Right
was-
down the
Yes.
middle.
It was just awesome, though. And
that
that
was
was,
awesome.
I think, 2 years before he almost won the British Open.
Okay.
Against Sink.
Pull the trigger.
All right, finally, hole number 9, last 9 of the year. What is your promise for the game of golf in 2022?
My promise for the game is to promote it as best to my ability and serve those people that I now work for. And my goal is to keep trying.
There
I
you
gotta
go.
can't stop. I gotta keep trying to play.
Keep the fire lit. I like
Yeah.
it. Buddy,
I'm going to play more, which I say that a lot, but I'm also going to get my boys more involved in golf, hopefully but a little more coaxing and getting
Right.
them and getting some family time that way.
Okay.
Because we've not been doing that enough, and that would be great.
all right. And Ronnie, what about you?
My promise for the game is to continue traveling to play golf. For me, it's just the best in the world. Or best feeling in the world is heading out and playing in tournaments
Yeah.
on the road.
You're
That's
good at
cool.
it.
Road
Or just
warrior.
it's the
Yeah.
I like
best.
that. Mine is to get one selfie or group photo with everybody I ever play with during the year and keep their names, emails, phone numbers, and just check in with them periodically because there's never a round in which I come off the 18th and go, that was terrible. I don't like these people. Golf is a universal thing. If you play golf, you're my friend, basically.
The basketball coaches you played with the other day, I mean, to get that phone call from you was wonderful.
Oh, yeah, right. I played with the Pewaukee High basketball coaches. I called Ronnie because they were big Ron fans, knowing that he yelled at Tom Green at the Big Ten championship. Then Ron sends the article showing, Green heckled by a fan.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, they were good dudes. Good times. Golf brings everyone together. It's a wonderful thing. All right, coming up, guy you know well, you've caddied for, Michael Brennan of Leesburg, Virginia. He's at Wake Forest. He won again another college tournament. His star continues to rise. Plus, we'll talk to the tournament director of the upcoming Wells Fargo next spring at Avenel. Stay with us.
You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who once dreamed of becoming caddies on the PGA Tour until they found out you have to take the blame for everything. You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who all carry a perfect club, an alien wedge, a double-sided chipper, and a 20-foot ball retriever.
All right, we're back. Our pleasure now to welcome on a very special guest, currently at Wake Forest University on an Arnold Palmer Scholarship, and 1 week after sharing medalist honors at the Old Town Club Collegiate with teammate Alex Fitzpatrick, Michael Brennan blitzed the field at Colonial Country Club with 3 rounds in the 60s for a walkaway 6-shot victory. It is the second victory this year for the sophomore from Leesburg, and he is off to a great start to his college career, and he joins us now. Mr. Ronis, say hello to your one-time former pupil.
No, Mike is. Let's get this clear.
You've
Mike
taught
is,
Michael. You've caddied for him.
I'm a friend of Mikey's, but what I was privileged to do was caddy for him.
There you go.
And I've been fired.
And you nearly died.
Yes,
doing
I
it.
nearly
Right.
died, and he fired me quickly after that. But it was
Michael,
it
thanks
was
for
huge.
joining
Couple
us.
putting lessons as well. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
How's it going? So things are going well. I saw this, that now with your 4 tournament wins, individual wins, you are tied with notable Wake Forest alums Will Zalatoris and Billy Andrade, among others. Do you have these type of goals on your radar, or are these sort of byproducts of your process?
I wouldn't say a win number was one of my goals coming into college. It's really cool to see that my name has been associated with the likes of Arnold Palmer, Webb Simpson, and now Billy Andrade and Will Zalatoris. I mean, all just incredible players. And it's super cool to see that. But going into school, it was never really my goal to try to win. Obviously, you're trying to win, but I wasn't trying to catch a specific person.
Michael, Ron Thomas here. I knew about you when you were 14 years old, competing against you, more so when you were 15. Michael Cumberpatch of the Middle Atlantic and the Washington Met told me about you a long time ago and said, Ronnie, he said, there's a kid who's playing, and I want you to watch him hit balls, and I think he's going to be the most special player to come out of this area ever. And I said, okay, Michael, well, that's something pretty heavy to say. You went on, I competed against you at Laurel Hill, and you won your first Middle Atlantic Amateur, I believe, at 15 years old. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Then you won the next year at 16 years old. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Then you won again 3 in a row at 17 years old against the finest amateurs. The Middle Atlantic doesn't draw as many as we used to, but the finest amateurs really in the Middle Atlantic and from on the East Coast. Michael, that's when we knew, and I knew how special you were as a player. What does it do for you to win a tournament at 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old? Or is it just, I expected to win and let's move on to the next tournament, but it has to give you a lot of confidence to win a tournament like that 3 years in a row?
Oh, it's a huge confidence booster. And as you move up the ranks, I mean, I first started playing tournaments when I was 10 or 11 years old, and winning your first 9-hole tournament is a confidence booster, and then winning a 36-hole tournament, confidence booster, and then you get up into some amateur tournaments like the Mid-Atlantic Amateur, and then first college win, and then most recently last week in a great field. They're just all confidence boosters, and they kind of make you realize that you can compete with these guys no matter what the level is. And I just try to draw on that and draw on some past experiences like in the Mid-Atlantic Amateur to try to make it happen again.
And when what you guys don't understand either is Mikey is he loves challenges. He loves to be actually in the spotlight, even though it doesn't sound like it in what he talks about. He likes to be in the moment and create that moment for himself. And Mikey, you chose Wake Forest. Michael, I call him Mikey. You chose Wake Forest for a reason, because you thought that Wake Forest had a chance to win a national championship, and with your help, hopefully they will. Tell us a little bit about switching from the individual atmosphere of U.S. amateurs and U.S. juniors and things like that to then the back and forth of individual winning a golf tournament but also being part of a team. And tell us a little bit about that transition that you've made in college golf.
Yeah, I think it's been great to play for a team. It's been really special, and I love all my teammates at Wake, which makes it even better. But it is very different, and it does take a little bit of there's a learning curve to it, because you've always been so focused on yourself, and then you get out on the golf course. And at first, as a freshman, I was always super curious to try to see what my teammates were at, to see if we're doing well, to see if maybe I need to, push and try to make a few more birdies to help our team if we have a couple guys struggling or something like that. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it now, because it just puts added pressure on you. So now I look at it as like we're 5 individual players, and at the end of the day, golf is an individual game, and we hope that we play well enough to be able to compete as a team. But I think the most important part is not necessarily on the golf course playing as a team, but when you get off the golf course, you have to be supportive of your teammates. They're supposed to be supportive of you, but it's really just the best when you leave a golf tournament and you go out to dinner and you're with 5 or 6 of your best friends and your coaches.
Yeah.
It's really special.
When you're 53 years old, that's what you're going to remember.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I still do.
I got a feeling, Michael, you might be able to make some money playing this game. I'm not sure if that's ever crossed your mind, but let's just say it has.
That's the hope.
Let's just say it has crossed your mind. You're a sophomore. Talk to me. What do you think about college versus turning pro?
Oh, that's
Be
a
careful.
tough question. Yeah,
It's the question. There's no doubt. Ron, you played college golf. How do you feel about
no.
staying?
Don't even put me
Don't
in
even-
the conversation.
So did
with
I.
my
How
coach.
can I not ask the question?
Because we never had to think about
I'm not
this.
pushing him out of Wake Forest. Don't have the coach call me angrily.
and I don't want to say I haven't thought about it, but I really haven't done much research on that. I hadn't really talked to many people about it yet. So I would say I can't really give you a good answer.
Do you feel like you'll
question.
know? Do you feel like you'll know when the time is right? Do you have that peace of mind that you'll know?
I would say no right now.
Okay.
I just don't know. Maybe, it hits me and I'll know at some point.
Okay.
But
Cool.
right now, I don't feel that
If
way.
I know Michael and his mom and dad the way I think I do, I think his parents probably want him to get an education and a degree. Is that accurate, Michael?
That is, I would say, inaccurate.
Really?
I don't just like when
His
we were in high school
you-
and stuff.
Go, Michael.
My parents, of course, value education, and but it's never. They're not making me go 4 years. If I don't want to go 4 years,
Understood.
then they're totally fine with me leaving school.
Michael has great parents, especially
he
great
does.
golf parents. Yeah. What they want Michael to do is constantly be in pursuit, and I tell this to him also, but be in pursuit of being great. Yeah. And if that's academically, that's academically. If that's golf, that's golf. If that's something else, that's something else. But they demand that both of their kids, and shout out to Sean, your brother, he's unbelievable with his surgeries. They demand that they search and try their best for greatness.
Michael, earlier this year, I mean, Golf Channel's done such a great job carrying all these tournaments, these college tournaments, and seeing you play. I forget the name of the course. What is it? What starts with an M down in Texas?
Merido.
Yeah, Merido. You guys, it's a tough golf course, obviously. You had a camera right behind you on number 18, and you hit a 5-iron out of the rough, and you cut it around a tree with a hazard left. the swing, the club head is so on plane, it's frightening. The arms and everything. For him to be able to hit that cut out of the rough, but you made birdie. Michael, that camera was 8 feet behind you. Does it feel different having that camera with the red light on?
I think it's really cool. I've always enjoyed when people have come out and watched me. I encourage people to come out and watch me. So having it be on TV just means that's, magnituded. I don't think that's a word.
No,
we like it. We like it. It is now.
But I just think it's really cool that college golf is being exposed to more people, and they just, finished filming the Blessings College event this last weekend, and we have one more regular season event. Our first event of the spring is going to be televised. Pepperdine is hosting. So I think it's great that college golf and college golfers are getting a little bit more recognition now. But it definitely, again, is a learning curve. When I first was televised, it's just, kind of nerve-wracking. You're not really sure how to interact with the camera crew or the guys getting the sound and audio. But I think it's just the more you do it, the better you get, and just better preparation for playing professional golf.
Are you long enough off the tee for your liking? Is that a dumb question?
No.
I said for his liking.
Yeah.
For his liking. I'm sure he's long. Everyone's long today.
It's not a dumb question,
No.
Steve.
Right,
he was saying that he's long. That's what John
I know
said.
he's
Go
long.
ahead,
Yeah.
Mikey.
What's your carry distance, Michael?
So I'm kind of in the middle of a switch with my drivers. I've played the Titleist TSI 2 for the last many months.
Okay.
I averaged about 300 to 305 carry with that driver.
That'll do.
But a problem that I always had, it always spun a little bit too much for me. So I was always in the high 2000s to 3000 spin rate with it, which was very accurate. I was very accurate with the driver and hit it plenty far. But on this last Friday, before we left Saturday morning, very early, I was hitting balls on a GC quad at our facility, and I was getting kind of pissed with just how much the ball was spinning, because I knew I wasn't maximizing my distance. My ball speed was about 180, 181, and it was flying like 305, which isn't optimal. So then I grabbed Alex's driver, and he has a TSI 3, which is supposed to be their smaller head, lower spinning, and gave it a few hits, and immediately spin rate dropped to low 2000s, and the carry distance went up to like 315, my longest being like 324.
I love it.
So I probably hit 5 drives with Alex's, and it was like, all right, this is ridiculous. I need one of these. But we were leaving in 11 hours, 12 hours. So I drove over to Old Town, our home course at Wake, and walked up, and the assistant pro was outside, and I asked him, I said, can I borrow a TSI 3 for this tournament? And so we walked back into the back shed. He unscrewed it from one of the demo shafts. It had demo written in it in big, capital letters.
That's great.
And that's the driver I played this last week.
Keep it.
I didn't have any practice with
demo.
it.
65, 69,
That's
65
fantastic.
to win by 6 with a demo driver.
The only way that story
Yeah.
would have been better, Michael, is if your pro had unscrewed it from some guy who was a member who couldn't hit it.
Yeah.
He just said, you're not going to miss this. Let me give it to Michael. Well, look, continued success and health, and it's great to talk to you, Michael, and I know you'll be doing big things, so keep it up.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Michael.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we switch gears. Coming up next May, in fact, May 2nd through the 8th, TPC Potomac at Avenel Farms hosts the Wells Fargo Championship. It'll be the first tour event since 2018 in the D.C. area, since Francesco Molinari ripped through Avenel, winning that tournament, the final year of the Tiger Woods AT&T. And then it's the first May date for a PGA Tour event in D.C. since when, do you think? There's your trivia question to start us off.
1954.
May date. May. No, because
You're way off, Ronnie.
we used to have, I'm going to say 2004.
All right, buddy?
May date. So you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna go 1988 and assume that Kemper Open was then.
You're all wrong. Gary Soba, who is the tournament director, do you know this answer, my friend?
I don't know the answer, but maybe never.
Okay, the answer is 2001, when Frank Licklider won on a rain-soaked Monday over J.J. Henry. I actually, Gary, went back to dig into this because as a longtime native, I'm like, this thing used to sit in that sweet spot end of May, early June, and then it got tossed around in the PGA Tour schedule. It's a very coveted month, May, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And now you're going to be in early May, the 2nd through the 8th, because Quail Hollow, which is still the tournament host of this event, is undergoing stuff for the President's Cup, and they're going to loan us their tournament for a year, and you're going to run it. We're excited.
Well, we're excited to be coming up there. It's going to be a tremendous event. I think you all know the Wells Fargo Championship is recognized as one of the premier events on the tour. In fact, last time the players voted for their favorite, it's called the Players' Choice Award, we won. So we're excited to be there. We think the time of year is fantastic, and we think the golf community up there is starving for the tour. And we're hoping this is not just a one-year event. We want to make this thing successful because in 25 we have a conflict as well with the PGA. So hopefully this goes well, and we're right back there in a few years afterwards.
Gary, Ron Thomas here. Gary, so you've got a tournament every year at Quail Hollow. You've got the Wells Fargo. Of course, the President's Cup is coming in. How do you pick a city and a golf club to go to, knowing that so many cities, so many golf clubs would love to get this event? How do you go about choosing a location?
That's a really good question. And you start with a title partner. Where does the title partner want to go? Where do they have clients, business, so forth? And in fact, in 2017, they went to Wilmington, North Carolina, Eagle Point, which is a fantastic golf course in its own right. Many of you have probably played it, but they struggled getting their wealth sector there. And as they looked around, D.C. was important to them. And then within the marketplace, our operations individual had handled the tournaments there at TPC Potomac, and it just was a good marriage. Obviously, the TPC course has a history of hosting. It's a very challenging course. So we looked at various cities. There's probably a half dozen we looked at seriously. But we think D.C. is a perfect place to host this event in early May.
Gary, we would love, and I'll just say this right now, I'm just going to put it out here, but, we know the area. We know golf in the area. We have a good reach with the show and the podcast and different things. But, I'm just going to say, if you need us, we're here for us. We're not ending the interview right now, but just know that between Golfdom and between Zabin and Steve Zabin and his radio, we're here for you if you need us, because you're not going to find four guys that are more into golf in the area, more connected to the game in the area, and we've been talking about this, Gary, on this show, how badly we want a regular tour event at in this area.
And we'll take a loaner for now with the possibility of more in the future, as you hinted at.
Yep.
Well, that's very kind of you, and we're excited about coming up there and trust you. I'm gonna take you up on that. I did meet Buddy just the other day, so look forward to working with you all, and we think it's going to be a dynamic event, dynamite event.
Certainly, Gary, you're up in Tyson's. You have a place here. Are you here full time when you're doing this, and then go home to Charlotte on the weekends? I mean, what does a tournament director do in the off season, if you will?
Well, we have 6 people there full time, and unfortunately, I was in an accident this year. I would be there full time, but right now I'm up there about 4 days a week, and back here on weekends to provide a little care for an individual. But we've got 5 people there full time. When I say 6, I'm one of the 6 that are out there and trying to build a brand. You've got a lot of things that need to be sold in advance. Whether it's your chalets, all your build, your clubs, sell your pro-ams. And that's one of the unique things is the pro-ams on Monday and Wednesday, and our Wednesday pro-am, we're about half sold so far, which this early, that's extremely good. We've changed the format where now you play not only with one pro, you play with 2s. They call it a 9-and-9 format.
Nice.
So your foursome plays with pick a guy, Roy McIlroy in the front, and they might play with Tom Hoagie or somebody on the back. And the pros like it. They play 9 versus 18, and the amateurs like it because they get two professionals.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. We can't wait. It'll harken back to the glory days of the early 2000s and the 1990s when radio stations like mine would be out there at Avenel on the back patio, and the tour was in town. It was a huge event in D.C., so we desperately look forward to seeing it back. Thank you for your time, Gary, and good luck preparing, and we'll be ready in May.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Gary.
Take care, Gary.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, that is a wrap for our regular run of shows here in 2021. Buddy, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, thanks,
Hey,
buddy.
We used up your hitting bay. It's a perfect studio set. I love the backdrop, so thank you.
I really appreciate your guys' support, not just on the show, but in everyday life, and had fun playing golf with you this year. Zabe, maybe all of us can get out there next year.
We got to do that.
Let's do it.
And Zabe, thank you. From me and Ronnie, who do this every year with you, it's just so fun, and
I
we
love you
appreciate
guys.
it so much.
I love you, man. You guys give your time. You drive through traffic. You fight from the other side of the market. You give up lessons to be there for $0.0,
Yeah.
and I can't thank you enough.
So worth it.
And same thing for John Gould, who couldn't be here today. I appreciate his commitment and involvement in the show, and just makes it fun. And for everyone who listens and downloads and then emails me saying, when are you going to post the podcast to the show? Hurry up. I'm like, thank you. You guys actually care. Have a great rest of the fall. Don't stop playing golf. Don't stop coming in here to Golfdom to get stuff for your game. And we will see you probably sometime around the holidays for a special Christmas edition. And then we'll start it up again in 2022. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your golf fall, and we will see you down the road.